Very much. And the opportunity to talk about this from kind of a consumer perspective, like what should the consumer do and what role does the consumer play in kind of what happens in the restaurant industry over the next few months, I think is an important one to be having. So we're going to be focusing in on be safe, be local, and be kind. And so like the first question is, what can customers be doing in your space to keep themselves, but also your staff safe? Are there any kind of like rules of thumb?
Well, I can tell you what we're going to do, which, has a lot to do with the guidelines that we were presented, but, we're going to ask the guests if they would wear a mask. All of our staff will be. We'd like them to at least wear a mask coming into the space, and then they can remove it once they're seated. We're going to ask guests to just try to keep their distance when they are walking by tables. We're giving them ample space to do so, so we would like them to use that space accordingly. Basically, we want to make everybody feel as safe as possible, both the team members that are working and the guests that are coming in. I think if they feel safe in an environment, they'll come back to that environment. If they don't feel safe, they probably won't come back in.
So Loryn, how about you? How can customers keep themselves safe, but also your staff? Because obviously it's been a big conversation, having staff come back and making sure that they stay safe.
Yeah, we haven't shut down yet. So we went straight to curbside, and we're not planning on doing anything different at this point. We're just such a small space that opening our space up would be 10, 11 people to dine in. So just, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to open the space yet. So for us, it's just continuing to do what we've been doing, which is curbside. And I'd say to your question, as far as safety goes, it really boils down to just patience, understanding that these are all new processes for everyone. And things like, just reading, a website or reading a post thoroughly to see like what each restaurant is like setting as their guidelines and their base. And then, when you come to a restaurant, maybe, most things are tagged appropriately. So, if you grab someone else's bag, then we have to take that back inside, refire it, and make sure that they have a safe product. That's been happening a lot, because people are in a hurry. They're also not used to the wait. Like Paul said, there's a little more of a wait than normal in terms of, what people are accustomed to for takeout. And I think understanding that a lot of our restaurants weren't set up for that from the beginning. So we're still in a learning process, and having our customers kind of be gentle in that is important just for day-to-day morale, because we want to be there and we want to do this. We just want to make sure we're safe and that the customers are safe. So no one's coming into our restaurant right now, and it's either usually Edo and I that are taking the food out to the tables where customers can pick them up. So we have some staff coming back, so I imagine that some of this will change. And we keep changing every week. There's something new to do differently, or something that we've learned that we could do better. And I think it's just going to be a lot of that going forward, like constantly evolving during all of this and trying to just make it a better experience.
A lot of adjustment and patience, it sounds like.
Yeah, for sure.
So Gerard, you're in a position where you obviously have a number of different restaurants, and you even have a restaurant that you're operating inside of a hotel. So how do these rules, as far as like, again, from kind of the customer perspective, when they're coming in, how can they stay safe, but also keep your staff safe?
Yeah, and I think, touching on what Paul and Loryn talked about is that we were given a set of guidelines to follow, and that's a base set of guidelines. And yes, it's a lot. Yes, there are challenges. It's going to be new for everybody, but it's also the base guidelines. And so, obviously encouraged to even do more if you can. The goal is protecting our employees and our fellow guests. And so it's just important to remember that none of us want to impose these things on everybody. We don't want our dining experience to be this hard. Obviously, this is our goal in life as hospitalians, is to make people happy and bring joy. But safety is number one. And for us, especially, our employees' safety is number one. And so we just really encourage everybody that if they want restaurants to stick around, you know, if they want us to be there long term, and now just speaking purely economically, if we go through all this and people don't take this seriously, people think it's a joke, people crowd restaurants, and this goes both for, you know, restaurateurs and the customers. But, you know, we've all seen the pictures. We've all seen it happen, crowding bars, crowding restaurants, not listening to guidelines, you know, doing silly things that put everybody's life in danger. Economically speaking, if we reopen all of our restaurants and have to go through this all over again, we might not come back. And so I really, you know, my plea to everybody, I mean, anybody who will listen all week, was just take it seriously. You know, if a restaurant asks you to do something, even if another restaurant that you like doesn't ask you to do that, just do it. You know, we're not doing it to impose on you. We're doing it because we believe this is what's going to keep everybody safe. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that actually dovetails really nicely into the next question. Arguably, the St. Louis restaurant scene is one of the most exciting parts of living here. And so, you know, again, what needs to happen in order for the restaurant scene to survive this period, but then also kind of, and we don't know how long it's going to last, we don't know how it's going to manifest, but then on the other end, begin to thrive again?
You know, we want to be as positive as possible. We're excited to open. Our staff's excited, but we are a little leery of what we're going to face with the public, and we don't want to have confrontations with people. I mean, that's not what we're in the business to do. But we're also going to stand our ground and make sure that our staff are protected and they're safe, and the other guests are safe. I mean, that's the key here, and we were trying to be as responsible as possible as everybody else is out there. I don't think there's any restaurateurs that aren't taking this seriously, but I do know that there are guests that are not taking it seriously, and I just want to make sure that they realize it is so important.
Yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
I mean, I think the obvious thing is just not just following restaurant to restaurant guidelines, but patronizing restaurants too, and eating local. I mean, I think that's the most obvious and simple thing to do, is just, you know, if you don't want to cook and you're looking to eat out, and, you know, try to find somebody in your neighborhood, try to find somebody local. Like it's crucial for the St. Louis restaurants to survive. You know, we're not relying on tourism here. We're relying on the people of the city.
So in kind of the thread, the idea of being kind to one another in this time, you know, the hospitality industry is all about connecting. And so how do you talk to your staff about extending hospitality in a time of social distancing? Like, what are those conversations that you guys are having with each other?
I think trying to get our staff to think outside the box, you know, leaving notes in the bags of to-go food, you know, maybe for a regular that comes in all the time, you know, we might throw a little something extra in the bag to remind them that we still love them. You know, just little things here and there, just to show some love in some way. And I think it's just really important that we can't, you know, give hugs and kisses anymore, but there are other ways showing love. A little heart on a bag, it goes a long way right now.
Yeah, we've been doing those same things too, just, little things on their name tags or on the bag. And we're fortunate to have a ton of windows in the front of the restaurant. So we're constantly encouraging the staff just to look up, and wave or, blow a kiss or say hello through a window. It's strange for us not to connect with the customer, and it makes our job harder when we're not connecting with the customer, because that's why we do what we do. But those are the kind of conversations and keeping the morale up so they feel good about the fact that they can still see the people that are coming to, get the food that they just made, and they still feel good about it.
Yeah, we had our staff a couple weeks ago. We actually had them go through the reservation list of our regulars, and they actually called them all up and told them, that we missed them, and we wanted to see them, and we were hoping they were doing okay, checking in on them kind of. And the staff, they loved doing it. I mean, they said it was so awesome because people were so surprised that we made the calls, and it was nice talking to them. I mean, these are people that are, they're the regulars. They come in all the time. I mean, you see them a couple times a week sometimes, and it went a long way, I can tell you, on our end. And it's going to be hard with a face mask on to portray that you're smiling, because that's you can't see anybody anymore. But you could tell in people's voices, and I think being caring and as friendly as possible, and just understanding everybody's going through this in a different way. I mean, you have some people, they don't really care at all, and you have other people that are scared to death. And we have to just sort of be cognizant of that fact, that everyone has to be treated in a different manner, and really be patient, and so, somebody might come in and be very, very, very difficult for them to be in an environment like we're going to have to do, but we just have to be understanding of it and just do our best to make them feel comfortable.
I mean, to me, the restaurant industry, yes, it's about food, it's about cooking, but it really, the heart of it is people. And that is what, to me, this crisis is kind of opening up. It's like ripping open the soul of what this industry is truly about, which is connecting with your community and creating those touchstones. And I think that's one of the most heartbreaking aspects of this, because, people know you guys. They come to your restaurants to see you, to connect with you, to see your staff, to, it's not just about not being hungry. It's about creating a sense of community. And I think that now that we're looking at, kind of this opening, whatever that means, we're kind of have to figure out what the new normal is and how to, build and strengthen those ties of community that really are woven together through the food industry, is the way that I kind of see it.
Quickly, is that, while a lot of these restaurants are opening, some are not, and even the ones that are, do not have all of their staff back. And so there are so many people out there that are struggling and unemployed, and, restaurants, even our restaurant niche food group has its own employee foundation that people can donate to. And there's still the Gateway Resilience Fund that people can donate to. There's countless ways to still help people out there that still need their assistance. And so, not to forget about everybody. And, I think that the tough part is telling people that, yes, we are back, but we're still pretty far from okay. And we definitely need help. We definitely need support.
Loryn, any parting words from you?
I just think that, talking, if you're dining and you had a good experience, or, maybe you had an experience that you didn't understand, but then, after you come in and grab food, and then it was an easier experience to tell people around you, like, I keep stressing patience, just because I think that's something we talk about at the restaurant and have for a while, is just the more patient and kind everybody can be, the easier and more, I don't want to say more fun, but it could be. Maybe. We hope so. It could be.
I agree with both of those comments. I think that's awesome way to look at it. And I also think, you know, while we're all really excited to do this, you know, we're all a little bit nervous too. And I hope that the public understands that, you know, we're just as nervous about this as they are. And we want to make it work, and we're going to do anything we can to make it work. And we're here to, you know, listen to them too. So if they have opinions or thoughts, I mean, they can share them with us and we'll pass it on.
So be safe, be local, be kind. It's the new normal. Thank you guys for joining us for this conversation. I know it's going to mean a lot to your fans, your customers, to kind of know how they can be your partners in getting the city back to normal. So thank you very much.
Thank you.